What other observations did you have? That was a very interesting one. And notice again, mind wandering, aware of something arising in the moment. Mind wandering, aware of something arising in the moment. Now at the moment it may seem like it's one or the other. In time we may learn not necessarily. But that is a very natural tendency and very good set of observations. Yes. When I maybe once endeavored to practice, I don't know what your endeavoring was this week, I felt anxious. In which case, to write down on the form would be, I noticed a tension in my shoulders, I noticed what would be other things that you might notice in terms of body sensations? If you're feeling anxious. Because anxious is a biggie. By the way, anybody here feel anxious in the last week? Just out of curiosity? Okay. I certainly did. What would be some other sensations in the body? Heart rate going up. Probably you didn't say it, going up, I would imagine. Right. And if it goes up, what's it going to do shortly thereafter, probably? Go down. Right. If it keeps going up, it's unlikely. Yes?
Your chest tightens?
Chest tightens, good. Does everybody understand, does everybody have a direct connect to chest tightening and the heart rate going up? Yeah? Anybody not? Just so I can... Who else? What other sensations in the body? Yes?
Maybe not standing still.
Okay, a fidgety. Good, a fidgety.
The breath becomes faster.
Breathing gets faster. And I'm interested in participation, so please, if these are good questions to answer because I hear your voice, if you're comfortable articulating.
Then, so when I feel anxious, I feel the necessity to do this.
Okay, now interesting. When I get anxious, notice because we're really paying attention here to ourselves, and we can use each other as a helpful support in this regard. I feel, so there's when I get anxious, okay, I feel the, what'd you call it?
Necessity.
The necessity. I feel the necessity. Now, that's putting into words. One of the reasons why mindfulness is so challenging, or many aspects of contemplative practice, is because we're using words to explain something that almost words could never explain, right? So, I feel the necessity. Can you reduce that to a, if you're really paying attention to the data, and you feel the necessity to do this, what sensations in your body might be happening? Well, anxiety, we're looking at anxiety as a emotion slash feeling state. Okay, good. And you're saying even more, because I think this is where this gets very subtle. You say, I feel the necessity. And I like this because this is, a layer down from anxiety, right? I feel anxious. That we all can feel anxious. We all. Oh, I feel the necessity to, what would you call this?
I don't know in English. How do you say that?
Crack knuckles.
Crack knuckles. Okay. Okay. Well, if you are sitting there, and try this. I'll do my best to make you anxious without making you too anxious so we can revisit this exact moment. You're sitting there, you're feeling anxious, and then a few moments later, you do this. What might have preceded the this?
I have the answer. So I think this comes from something like in my past when I used to. No.
That's now you're giving me a thought,
okay.
which is arising in this moment,
Okay.
and it could be, and this is also very good to bring up in our second class. It could be that there's a whole lot of aspects of our conditioning, our life story, our history, that explains why one of us does this, and somebody else eats a cookie, and somebody else just sits there and doesn't have one way or the other. But what if you are, sit like this, sit how you sit, okay? Now pretend that you're feeling anxious. Everyone do this, please. You're sitting there, pretend. We're not going to try to force anxiety on this. But you're feeling anxious. In fact, okay, I'm going to call on somebody. Just to create a general mood of anxiety. You're sitting like that. You're feeling anxious for whatever reason. And because you do feel the necessity to do this, you then do this. What do you think in your body might be happening a few seconds before you do this?
I feel pressure in my chest.
Okay, so there could be pressure in the chest. Excellent. And this is, of course, maybe a way of soothing a little bit of that, or adding to it.
And like
And
tension in the shoulders.
Tension in the shoulders, very nice. Any other thoughts on what it is, Vic?
No, I just want to add maybe some cramps. I would feel cramps when I feel anxious
Absolutely.
in my stomach.
It's definitely a reflection to something that is happening. So she's talking about it as a negative thing, negative reflection.
Well, no, well, I don't know. I didn't hear that necessarily. I think that we all tend to, from time to time, see anxious as not a positive state to be in, but we'll be exploring that. But here, what we're just doing here is we're not trying to figure out why. We're trying to figure out what. We're trying to figure out what, right? So these are some of the telltale signs of what will be arising if we're paying attention. If we're paying attention. Okay. So if on your card, and this week you'll have a card, you wrote down, I felt anxious. I'd be like, okay, well, what's going on underneath the anxious? And I'm not interested in, well, when I was a kid, I was in a similar situation, and I mean, that's very interesting to be sure, and that could be very, very relevant and very, very helpful and very useful. But from the paying attention in that moment practice, if you say, well, I had a memory of when I was a child and I was in a similar situation, that would be arising in that moment. That would be a thought, and you write down, I had a memory of when I was a child, because that's happening in that moment. But you would write down, you could write down, I had felt the necessity to crack my knuckles, but even deeper than that would be, there was a chest, my chest tightened, there were cramps on my stomach, or whatever that may be.